I am here in Kandrian, Papua New Guinea, out on the islands today. Gonna do a 40-mile flight up that way to a jungle airstrip called Moke. I've got one box to drop off, 2 kgs, and then I'm going on a 200-mile flight all the way over some open ocean to Madang. 200 miles and about 150 miles of that is gonna be over open water. So, I've got my friend George here, I've got my life vest here. I think we're ready to go. On this takeoff, we're probably gonna be taking off downhill with about an 5 to 8 knot tailwind. So, our fuel on, low start, oil pressure up as high as we can before we introduce our fuel. It's only 37 degrees out, but there's a nice breeze. But yeah, it is rather warm from where I'm used to in the highlands. All right, I've got 2 kgs underneath. I got, like I said, George here. I've got my vest I'm gonna be putting on for the next flight. We've got 1090 on the fuel. And my empty weight is 4350, so 4350 there. 5657, 5650, so we're within 10. We're good on there. So 56, so 57, so 56 knots for rotate and 65 for landing. Now, I have not been back to Moke yet since I've been back to PNG this year, so this is the first time I'm taking you guys, and if it's the first time you've seen some of my videos, well then it's the first time you've seen this place too. We're only going up to like 2,000 feet all the way over there, which is like 1,000 foot above the ground. Alright, we'll put our flight plan in. I have to actually manually put it in today because we don't have a saved flight plan for this particular flight. If you are a flight simmer and you want to try some flights like this, you have to go check out my Patreon page. And this month, you get a lot of free stuff when you sign up this month. Moore's B8861, November Tango Kilo Taxi. Reading is strength 1, November Tango Kilo Taxi. Kandrian Moke, 1 POV. November Kilo. Kodiak November Tango Kilo 120 or 127.1 will be back taxiing Kandrian for departure to the west-northwest. Kandrian. Alright, we are clear. They've cut it nice here. Usually it's like 1.5 feet long with a tiny little strip where your wheels go. Like I was saying, we're going to be taking off downhill with a tailwind today, and I'm guessing probably on the ground is probably 5 to 8 knots. Once we get up in the air, it'll probably shift around anywhere from like 8 to 10 knots or so. But this is like it says it's like a 2% slope, but it looks more like a 3% slope. So if I were to go to the other end, I'd be taking off uphill, which I'm empty today, so it's not really a big deal. We got some trees right here at the end of the runway. I'm empty, so that's why I'm choosing to go off downhill with the tailwind. Caps, fuel is put in, our caps have been checked, our selectors are both on, our controls are correct and free. Turn our terrain awareness system off. Our switches and instruments, we're only going up to 2,000 feet. Our trims have already been set, our flaps are set at 20. Alright, if we're not airspeed alive by the parking bay, then we'll just go ahead and stop on the runway because obviously something's wrong. After takeoff, we'll pitch for 85 knots. Considering our EPL, considering feather, we'll do a left-hand turn immediately to lowering terrain because the coast is about 1/8 of a mile or less that way. It goes down about 300 feet down to the ocean. Looks like I have people on the runway. I have no idea what they're doing. That's super annoying. Oh, let's go scare them off. Guarantee you the second I get down there, they're gonna go off. Now I'd be airborne well before then, but that's not the point. They know that I'm ready to take off. And it's not some kid either. That's what's the most annoying thing about it. I'll probably be airborne right about here, probably about 400 meters before him, but the fact that he's an adult and that he's still out here, that's what's annoying. And you're running off into the jungle. This is the stuff you get to deal with as a bush pilot in Papua New Guinea. He was old enough to know not to be screwing around on the runway. Alright, let's try this again. I've had other times where kids will lay down on the runway, far enough obviously down, but like lay down on the runway so you take off over top of them and stuff, so it's not the first time that this type of stuff has happened. I've had kids like go out and lay all their shirts down in hopes that you were gonna like blow all their shirts off the runway, but yeah. Alright, well we're left off on trim and abort, so we've already got our trim set up. I don't see anybody down there now. So we will go to our taxi or our parking bay. If we're not airspeed allowed by that, we'll stop on the runway. After takeoff, we'll pitch for 85 knots, considering our EPL, considering feather. And then idle cut off, pull off, and shut off. Emergencies masters crack my door, left-hand turn to lowering terrain. We're sea level at 33 degrees today, so 1550. Alright, ignition condition, flaps 20, fuel and harnesses. Checklist is complete. Let's just do a rolling start. Here we go. 1550. Alright, torque set, airspeed's alive and climbing nicely. And off before the parking bay. Oh, the wind's died down now. We've got maybe 2 knots of tailwind. Where I came in, I don't know, 25 minutes ago, we had like 9 knots, so. Okay, we've got rain straight ahead. We're heading over that way, so we should have no issues, it looks like, along our 40-mile path. Oh, because I'm at sea level, I'm going to really focus on my torque there, because you can see it's already at the top. If I pull it back too fast, it will spike, so I'm just going to pull it back really nice and slow, right to 2,000 RPM for my prop. You can see now it's at 720, 1720. And now that we're at sea level also, we're actually, and this is as high as we're going to go, we're going to bring our fuel flow all the way back to 300 pounds. So you'll see our torque is quite a bit lower than what we'd fly around at. So let's do it at 320, because that's what we do our planning at. There we go. Where's BA 861, November Tango Kilo departure?
Go ahead.
November Tango Kilo departed, Candrian time 32, tracking 307, below 5,000, estimating Moke 48. Oh, that's horrible today. November 10 Kilo. I'll leave my engine inlet into bypass for this flight just because we're kind of at the bird level right around 1,000 feet. Looking straight ahead, it looks kind of like what our windy app was forecasting, where there's a little bit of rain kind of starting up here in the mountains, and then eventually it'll probably work down into the more the flatlands, but for this one it should be just completely wide open. Now, because we're going to be there in 13 minutes, let's go ahead and bring open our landing strip chart so that we can know what we're going to expect. Again, I haven't been here in probably more than a year and a half, so touchdown elevation is 1,000 feet. We're coming in from this direction from the south, the southeast. We'll fly overhead and then enter into a circuit at 2,000 feet. Winds up here are going this way, which means that it's going to be a tailwind if they're the same there. Last time I tried to land out here, I was unable to land because I had, I think it was like 14 to 17 knot tailwind, and it was just too much. Touchdown slopes 3%. I'm hoping that they cut it, so I'm going to fly over it first because I actually do not know if they've cut it, and they've been very notorious for not cutting it. Because, well, I think they do it by hand, so I don't blame them. Because I am coming in here empty, I will be able to accept a higher tailwind for landing because it looks like I'm going to have a tailwind no matter what.
500.
If you're wondering, well, why can you land with a higher tailwind if you're light? Well, because you don't have as much inertia pushing you down the runway with a heavy airplane.
500.
You can brake easier, that's the biggest thing. As well as you're going to be coming in on your approach speed quite a bit slower, probably like 15 knots. I'm going to be, well, maybe not that much. Probably at least 10 knots slower because I'm empty. So, and I'm lighter, so I've got three things going for me when I'm lighter. Yes, my camera's overheat when I'm this low. That's why I don't fly this low. All stations smoke, 127.1, Kodiak November Tango Kilo 10 miles to the southeast. We'll be joining the circuit at time 47. Our fuel is on, our TOS is off. Our VREF we've got set up at 65, probably going to be the same, so yeah, 5,500, so actually 64. We've got about 8 knots tailwind from here. We're going to be landing there, and it says it's 13 to 14 knots, so yeah, we'll see. The nice thing also about being really light, even though you have a tailwind, I'm going to accept it for a lot longer coming into land because I'm light, my go around place has moved up closer because now I'm super light, I can go around like closer to last second. Maybe not quite so here because it is kind of jungly and it's rising terrain, but still a lot closer. So there's a lot more going for me if I'm light coming in with a tailwind. And if you're wondering why you have to land with a tailwind, well, because it's a one-way airstrip. Like I was saying, there's like a kind of a hill at the very end of the runway you'll see, so you can only land one way. About 5 miles away, I'm just seeing the end of the runway now. I'm gonna fly over it, probably around 500 feet above the ground so that I can get a good look at it to see if there is long grass. If it looks like there's long grass, then I'm just gonna do a right-hand turn and then just fly down the airstrip at probably like 30 feet off of it. With 20 degrees of flaps, going for around 80, 85 knots, so that I can get a better assessment of it to see if it's worth my time landing there or not, or if I just need to head on to go down to Madang. All stations Moke, 1271 November Tango Kilo, joining the circuit Moke. Moresby 8861 November Tango Kilo in the circuit Moke, report after landing. If you're wondering why, Ryan, do you always like sit straight up and down when you come to land and does not move your seat? Because it's super annoying to have to sit like straight up and down like this when like 2 hours of your flight you can enjoy your seating position, and like for the last like 4 minutes of the flight you can just sit up. It's a lot easier. Alright, well, let's get our prop forward in case we have to just join straight into a circuit. And it's a short left-hand turn out, short final. It's the coloring of the grass. The end doesn't look cut. Maybe. Oh, it looks good.
500.
No, it looks good enough. Okay, yeah, that's good. Just the very end looked really bright green, which is like an indication it's not cut. We'll go 10 degrees of flaps. Beautiful area out here, that's for sure. And those flaps just, man, they just bounce you right up to your altitude that you want to be. Go 20 degrees of flaps. There's our pattern altitude nearly. And yeah, we've got about 11 knot tailwind for landing, it looks like, so. All right, there is parallel with the runway. Actually, no, that's not parallel. It looks like it. There we go. All right, turning final 1500. Up and harness is good. We've got flaps to go. But 64 knots on base. We've got 84 here. Turning my base. A little bit of power. Pitch up just a tiny bit. That will slow us on down to 74. There's 74, 100 feet to go yet.
500.
There's full flaps, checklist is complete. Turning final 1540. Going to 64 knots. And the winds look like they're dropping off already down close to the ground. It's not tailwind. We'll land at the first brown patch in. Big one, not the small one off to the right. 500 on the descent. 6 knot tailwind. .400 on the descent, a little bit flat. There's our 64 knots. Runway's clear. We're committed. Seven knot tailwind. A low idle. Right, well I haven't been here in like almost 2 years, and there used to be like houses all right here. That's so weird that it's so different looking now. Well, let's do a 180. I'll shut down, give them this package. Hope you guys enjoyed this flight out here. I'm on to Madang now, so stay tuned. I'm gonna do a time lapse on to Madang as well. It's like another hour-and-a-half flight. And I'm probably going all the way up to 18,000 feet, as long as I don't have to go through clouds, because then I'll get icing and you go. Oh, and like I was saying at the beginning, I'm running some amazing deals on my Patreon page. With different levels, you get a lot of different free things. I've got a coffee table album, I've got these checklist boxes, I've got these sunglasses, I've got my Kodiak sim course. If you don't know how to fly and you want to learn how to fly, I'm giving all that kind of stuff away for free, so go check it out.